Women's Sports Safety Initiative was created to advocate for equality in sports safety for women and girls. What do I mean by that? When you hear concussions, people often think of football or male athletes. And in fact, when you start to look at research or studies that are available, you see that women suffer more concussions than men in similar sports. So we really felt that we needed to bring together major stakeholders to talk about how we can advocate for equality. We're very excited to announce a national survey we conducted. It was done by Harris Poll. We polled over 2,025 adults living in the United States. And you know, no surprise, 66% of Americans say they're very and somewhat knowledgeable about concussion. But when we started testing their knowledge level, many Americans are misinformed or just don't know a lot about women and concussions. And one of the facts that was striking to me is that over 89% of Americans say what we need to address concussion crisis is more guidelines in return to play when athlete sustains a concussion. This was surprising to me because 50 states have passed legislation addressing this very issue. And so, among parents, when we break down the data and just look at parents, it was over 90% of parents saying, we need more guidelines in place for athletes. And so I think there's a big disconnect between public policy achievements and all the advancements around concussions and establishing return to play guidelines and what's really happening at the community level. Because obviously people aren't really benefiting from all these great public policy advancements. So there were about 500 parents with children 18 years or younger. So that was the breakdown. I'm sure we have that data, but I would have to look at the crosstab, which I don't have with me. But yeah.
We can keep that.
Well, it's really meeting people like Catherine and yourself, or should I just say your name? Should I say your?
Catherine Adore, yeah.
Okay. It's this has been an incredible experience for me because while there are a lot of conversations about concussions, very few organizations or conferences that are focused on women and concussion. So this has been a great opportunity for me to participate and learn, but also to network with people like Dorothy and Catherine, and just really figure out ways to advance the conversation forward. I think what we really need is to organize every sector, everyone who's involved, and not just in sports, but health reporters, as you mentioned. Organizations that are not traditionally in sports, to be at the table to have this conversation and how we can move forward. Research funding is so important to better understand why female athletes concuss more than male athletes. And so when I look at the NIH-funded research projects, for example, I haven't identified a single project dedicated to looking at female athletes and hormone issues, for example. So, I think we really need to work on inspiring more research at the federal level, obviously establishing a national surveillance system on concussion, because CDC estimates 3.8 million concussions happen every year. But that's their estimate. We don't really know how many are women by race, age, gender, and I think we need to have a better data collection system so that we can advocate better for female athletes.